So this is point. So how do you start a point? Well, you need to be, as we well know by now, you need to create a sketch. And then you'll find that it is on the drop-down list here for create point. Obviously, there's my right click, and you've got point down there. Again, you may not have that if your shortcuts keyboard is not set up the same as mine. So there is the S shortcut, which will get you to, for me, because I pinned it to my shortcut because I use point quite a lot, or you can go into the search box and go POI. Well, it comes up anyway, and you can then just click point. So there's several ways how you can create a point. Um, Fundamentally is not really a lot. 2 points, you click one, you click another, you click another, you click another, and you click another, and that creates points. You could then use that if you wanted to play dot the dot. So you could go line to line and then keep going down line and then line and then line and then another line. So that's one option. But what I seem to use point for most is quite often I want a midpoint constraint. Now, I know we haven't properly covered constraints yet, but this is what I use it for. And when we do constraints, then you'll understand a bit more why. So we're going to create, oh, no, let's do a line first. So if we create a line, so let's just say I wanted to create a cross, not a normal cross, but a religious cross. So I could create a line and I could come across there, and then I could create another line and I could come down to there. Now, really what I want to do is I want to start looking at constraints because we know they're already there. There's nothing we can do about that. So I kind of want it to look like that. But ideally, when I move this, I want that one to move with it. And if I change the distance of that one, I want it to be equal on either side. So I don't want it to be like it is now. It's a wonky cross. So when we go through constraints, one of the things that you'll know is that we do a midpoint constraint. So obviously we can do a midpoint constraint of that line to that line. Now that's brilliant because it's technically made a cross. Now, when I drag this around, they drag around together. That's all very good, but it's not a cross, is it? Because a true cross, the slanty bit is higher up. So that's not going to work. So this is where points come in handy. Because what I can do is I can create a point. And if I hover over this line here, as I get sort of near the middle of that line, I get my triangle, and all that's doing basically is saying you're at a midpoint constraint. So if I click there, and if I now drag this over there, I think that works. If not, no. So if I do, is it that one? Yeah. So if I drag that point there, when I bring it across to this line, you'll see, it's hard to tell, but there is a cross on the line. And that kind of means that it's created a constraint. So now when I drag that, they both move around together. Now, we haven't got any constraints to stop it from going too high or too low. But what we have got is a constraint that means if I make that really big, or if I make that really small, it will always be symmetrical. And then it will always be parallel or the same vertical point as this one. So that, I reckon, is a good point for using the point.